He calls his child to listen now. They did not arrive here by chance. He brought them through a door that heaven opened just for them. A quiet strength stirs inside them that not everyone can see, but he sees it. And he chose this exact moment to reach them. What he shares is deep, and it matters. He asks only that they listen with open hearts all the way to the end, because something is waiting for them that has already been set in motion. The very breath they take right now marks a turning point. It is no ordinary moment. It is the threshold of something new, something he prepared for longer than they know. Turning away now means missing what he has carried to them through every bloat season of their life. So they must stay, letting their spirit settle, letting their heart open. He has walked beside them through every step, even those that felt unbearable. He knows the weight they carried. He knows the weariness that settled into their bones. But today, he will not speak about their wounds. He will not remind them of their struggles. Instead, he wants to remind them of something they might have forgotten, the quiet strength that carried them this far. He saw them stand when their legs shaking. He saw them choose hope when fear was louder. He saw every small act of courage that no one else noticed. They have carried so much weight, but today is the day to set it down. Perhaps they have wondered if he truly hears them. Perhaps in the quiet hours, they have asked if their prayers ever reach him at all. Listen closely. Listen closely. He hears everyone. He hears the words they speak and the ones they cannot find. He hears the sighs rising from the deepest part of them, the ones they think no one notices. They were not crying into silence. They were heard. He knows there were nights they held back their tears so no one would worry. He knows there were days they smiled while everything inside them was breaking apart. He did not judge them for that. He drew closer instead. He moved quietly, not wishing to press on a heart that was already so tired. And today, with his own voice, he tells them he has come to meet them right where they are. They may ask why now, why this moment, why this specific word. He will tell them why, where they could not carry it alone anymore. It is because their own plans failed, their strength wore thin, and even their faith felt like it was. That is exactly where God steps in. He never arrives late for his children. He arrives when everything that once held them up has fallen away, so they will know, without a doubt, that it was his hand that lifted them. Do they remember the promises they once carried, the ones they thought had expired? Do they remember the hopes they buried because they stopped seeing any sign of them? He has kept everyone. Nothing spoken in faith is ever lost. With him, if they have waited with tears, they must prepare to gather what comes with joy. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of gladness, and they sowed more than others ever saw. They gave when they had little left to give. They loved when it was not returned. None of that was wasted. Every quiet act of faithfulness was recorded, and today he has come to honor it. Their story will not be remembered for its pain. It will be remembered for what he did within it. Today, he cancels the words that were spoken over them in moments of weakness, the labels that were never true, the verdicts that tried to define them. He is writing something new in his own hand starting now. What he is bringing to them is not small. It is not partial, and it is not hidden. It will be clear enough that even those who once doubted them will have to. They realize that something greater touched their lives. It will be so complete that when they look at themselves, they will see someone different, no longer carrying old weight, but someone carrying purpose. There is a quiet truth he wants them to understand. Some people only stand at the edge of what he is doing. Others step fully into it day after day. The difference is not luck. It is the willingness to receive, to trust, and to let go of what no longer serves them. They have been faithful in the waiting. Now he invites them into the receiving. He knows their hearts have held questions they never said out loud. He knows they have wondered if their life truly matters. If anyone notices the quiet battles they fight, he whispers that he notices. He has always noticed. And today, he asks them to set those questions down and to simply receive what he has already prepared. Their spirit must be still. Their heart must open wide, because what is coming next will reach into the deepest places, the ones they thought no one could ever touch. They have stood at crossroads like this many times before, unsure whether the voice calling them forward was truly his. There were moments they hesitated, moments they second-guessed every step, wondering if they were imagining a whisper that stirred your heart. Today that uncertainty ends. His voice is clear, and he is calling you by name. This is no ordinary day, slipping by unnoticed. This is the day of decision, the day the fog lifts, and your path forward becomes clear. Let go of the sorrow tied to what lies behind you. Release the words that tried to convince you that you were not enough, that you were too far gone, that your best days had already passed. Those lies were never true. Here is the real truth. You are deeply loved and chosen, and your moment to rise is here. Hold on to him now, and let everything else fall gently from your hands. You are his beloved. He entered the most hidden place inside you, the place where even you have been afraid to look, the quiet room where you kept the broken thoughts and years of disappointment, the silences that built up over time. He did not enter with judgment. He entered with tenderness. He did not come with questions. He came with answers. He did not come because you called out loudly. He came because even in your silence, your soul was reaching for him. You have no idea how many times he watched you in the early hours of the morning, too tired to pray, too worn down to find the words, and still he heard you. He does not listen only to voices. He listens to your sighs. He understands your silence. He saw you hide your tears so no one else would worry. He saw you pretend everything was fine, even when your whole world was falling apart. He never turned away from that. Instead, he leaned in closer. He approached quietly, so he wouldn't press on a heart already pushed to its limit. And today, his voice reassures you that he entered that exact place to save you. What felt like ruin to you was just the ground where he planted the greatest revelation of your life. He wasn't distant when you felt the weight of your sorrow in silence. He did not step back when you felt lost. He hid himself in the quiet so he could meet you with something eternal. He is the one who turns endings into beginnings. He is the one who finds you among the breakers, pieces of broken plans, and places a new purpose into your hands with his own care. You might wonder why this didn't happen sooner. Listen closely. It wasn't the right time yet. If he had come when you wanted, you might have mistaken his hand for your own effort. You might have believed you achieved it alone. But now, after so much struggle, after endless attempts that seemed to lead absolutely nowhere, you know only a power greater than yourself could rewrite this story. And he is here. He is that presence. He is the one who reorders what time tried to undo. He is the voice that overturns human conclusion and writes a new path over your life with his own hand. Nothing can stop what he has already set in motion. Nothing can block what he has released over your house, because when he decides to move, no opposing wind can stand against him. We may not always see it, but every loss, every delay, every closed door was part of a design he had not yet revealed to you. It was necessary for you to walk through the deep mist so you could learn to depend on him. It was necessary for your pride to grow quiet so you could hear the whisper of his spirit. And now that you are more humbled than strong, more surrendered than rushed, he can finally give you what he always wanted to give you, a promise that does not rest on your strength, but on his faithfulness. He saw you when you were on the verge of giving up, when you no longer wanted to ask for anything else, when you decided to stop waiting because the waiting itself felt like more disappointment. But what we didn't realize was that in that very hour your hope was a fading. His spirit was already moving over your Name. You were remembered in the highest. Bless. They were named where destinies are decided. They were honored in the silence. And today, he has come to make visible what he secretly planted within them. This is not just another day. This is not just another word. This is the day their story turns in a prative new direction. The pain they carried will not be wasted. The rejection they endured will not be meaningless. The unfairness they suffered will be turned into honor, because he has power to redeem what others meant to use against them. What was meant to shame them, he will use to lift them up, not for revenge, but as a testimony, not to prove their strength, but so everyone may see his hand upon them. If they are still here, listening, it is not by chance. It is because something in their heart recognized his voice as true. He wants them in this moment to speak something out loud, even if only in their spirit, to say it as a declaration, not as a request, because what they confess now becomes the seal of what he has already begun, to declare their amen, if they believe. He does not ask for this declaration because he needs to hear it. He asks because they need to say it, because speaking it moves something in the unseen places, the places where chains have held on far too long. When they speak, they are not performing a ritual. They are opening a door, and to those who open that door with humility, he responds with abundance. There is a quiet ache they have carried, the feeling that perhaps they were forgotten, that opportunities had already slipped past them, but they must listen now. What seemed like delay was in truth simply a season of preparation. Nothing on their road has been without meaning. Every step, every climb, every obstacle, everyone who walked away has guided them closer to this very encounter, and he wants there to be no confusion about this. Their past holds no authority over them unless they give it that power. Their future calls them forward, and he has already set good things in motion for them. He knows what they have lost. He knows what they longed for that never arrived. He knows the plans that crumbled, the people who left without explanation, and he knows it was not fair, but it was necessary, because while they were building on uncertain ground, he was preparing solid rock beneath their feet. While they reached for comfort, he was preparing something far deeper, something that will not shift when life around them does. What they lost cannot compare to what he is about to place in their hands. To his child, he knows there were moments they believed the storm had come to destroy them. He knows there were times they looked around and everything seemed to be sinking. People drifted away. Doors that once stood open began to close. Time itself seemed to slow down, and they wondered where he was and why he was not doing something. But while their eyes saw chaos, his saw purpose. He did not send that storm to punish them. He allowed it so they could see who he wanted is even in the middle of what they could not understand. He was with them in every tremor. He held their life steady, even when they believed they would not make it through. And though they did not know it, every wave that rose was measured by his hand. They were never beyond his reach. He let them walk through that trial, not to watch them fall, but to show them his faithfulness. He let them walk through the fire, not to consume them, but to refine them. He let them walk through the valley, not to break them, but to teach them that his presence walks with them even there, so that even in the shadow of loss, they would fear nothing, because he is with them. That was not abandonment. That was preparation. What seemed like an ending was actually a foundation being laid. What felt like punishment was, in truth, covering. In the midst of that storm, he was closer to you than ever. Yet he remained silent, because he wanted you to hear him with your heart, not merely with your ears. You looked for something visible, something immediate, a clear sign, some outward change. But he chose to work first where it could not be seen, shaping your character, strengthening your faith, building your discernment and your dependence on Him. Before He altered your circumstances, He wanted to change you. And He did, even if you never noticed it happening. While you believed you were merely surviving, you were being shaped. Now you can look back and realize you are not the same person you were. Those old wounds no longer dictate your choices. Certain words no longer sting as deeply as they used to. Your prayers now rise up with far more faith than before. That is proof the storm did not break you. It matured you. He knows what you lost. He knows the hopes that never came. He knows the plans that shattered and those who walked away unexpectedly. He knows it was not fair, but it was necessary, because while you built on shifting sand, He was preparing solid rock. While you looked for comfort, He was preparing something with purpose. You were only seeking stability, but He had something greater in mind for you. You were simply looking for relief, but He was guiding you toward your calling. Now you finally understand that your losses can't compare to what He is about to give you. That storm was only the threshold. What comes next is revelation. After the wind comes His voice. After the fire, clear direction. After the shaking comes His presence. And here He is, opening your eyes to see what you could never see while you were weeping. He is showing you the gold remaining after the trial. He is breathing on the ashes, so a new fire can rise. He is touching your weary feet so you can walk again. But this time you won't walk alone. You will walk in His rhythm, under His promise, under His covering, because everything you survived was not without meaning. It was a clear sign His hand was with you the entire time. He does nothing without a purpose, and everything He allowed in your life, even the hardest parts, He will use for good. We know all things work together for those who love Him. Yes, dear child, even the things you don't understand, even the things that hurt, even the things that made you doubt, there is nothing you faced that He cannot turn into something beautiful. There is no tear you shed that won't become a river of blessing. Nothing you have lost is ever truly without a purpose in the grand design. He is completing in you. He kept you. He shaped you. And now He is positioning you. Listen closely now. It is time to rise, to stop focusing on the past and start watching for what is coming. He set you apart for greatness before you ever took your first breath. That is why your battles are so intense, why you sometimes felt completely unseen, unvalued, and easily replaced. But you are never invisible to Him. You are needed not to repeat old stories, but to begin writing new ones. And now He lifts you. He calls you. He cleanses you. He covers you. And He sends you forward. This is not only about healing your aching heart. It is about awakening what you were always destined to carry. Open your spirit now. Do not resist. Do not overthink. Just receive, because what He is releasing has already been prepared long before this moment. Even as you listen, His power moves in the exact places you suffered the most. You do not need to understand to trust Him. You only need to surrender. And if you surrender now, you will see what you never even dared ask for. He will surprise you, because just as the heavens are higher than the earth, His ways are so much higher than your thoughts, and He never changes. He is telling you today, He is saving you with something so great that your past will look tiny next to the glory He is about to reveal. While you believed everything was ending, He was already writing the beginning. While you thought that painful cycle was your final sentence, He was already preparing an escape route that no one could have imagined. He did not ignore your weariness. He never dismissed your tears. He gathered them like seeds. Now in this sacred moment where your soul opens to listen, He speaks with a steady voice. What looked like ruin was only the soil where He planted your greatest turning point of your life. As His child, He has seen the cycles repeating in your life, those that seem to have the explanation, the emotional setbacks, the constant losses, The same conflicts returning again and again. You thought it was just who you were, just how your life would always be. But it was not. It was an interference, an unseen barrier that needed to be torn down. And today, with absolute authority, he says to you, enough. Today that cycle breaks. Today the chain is cut. Today the door closes on what kept slipping through the cracks, because he is raising walls of protection around you. He is shielding your name, your loved, and your home. Nothing can touch what he has already marked as his. What tried to repeat itself in your bloodline, he is cutting off now. He declares you are under a new covenant, not sealed by human words, not by promises made in weakness, but by his own faithfulness. He is resetting what came before you. Every barrier raised to stop your growth is being dismantled by his presence. Every word that dishonored your future is falling to the ground, and every false promise spoken to manipulate you is exposed for what that it was. Today, he brings you light clarity and spiritual understanding, because he wants you free, but he also wants you aware, awake, steady, aligned with what is true. He is undoing not only what is visible, but what has worked quietly behind the scenes, bringing clarity where there was confusion. And with that clarity comes a peace that does not depend on circumstances, but on his voice within you. Do not fear if some people will not understand what he is doing in you. When his hand moves, some will step back, not because you failed, but because not everyone is ready to walk in the freedom he is giving you. Do not hold on to what you were always meant to release. He is closing certain doors, clearing certain spaces. He realigns who walks beside you, as some people were merely instruments of blessing, while others were invisible weights. Now you will see clearly, and when you see it, do not hesitate. This new season demands purity, separation, and a settled spirit. What you lost in the storm was not the end of your purpose. It was only the part that had to fall away, so you could reclaim what truly belongs to you. Today he comes to give you back something the pain made you forget. He comes to return the key that slipped from your hand in the midst of your tears. He comes to open a place inside you that closed due to disappointment, frustration, and the weariness of waiting so long without seeing any fruit. He does not come with ideas. He comes with destiny. He does not bring simple encouragement. He comes with an eternal calling. There is something inside you that has not yet been activated, and today, with both authority and tenderness, he says, rise and receive it. You built a life of survival, but he did not call you to survive. He called you to reign. He saw when you buried your dreams with your own hands, when you said, this is not for me, and you settled for a life smaller than the one he designed. But he tells you now, you were not made to hide. Even if you gave up, he never canceled anything, because what he has spoken over you does not depend on your mood. It depends on his decree. He is the one calling things into being that did not yet exist. And if he spoke it over you, nothing can undo his word. Today you recover your breath. Today strength you thought was gone is returned to you. Today the part of you that once dreamed boldly comes back to life. Because while others see only the surface, he sees the seed, and that seed is still alive. Even if it has been buried under years of disappointment, he is breathing on it now, and it will grow again, because he made you to bear fruit, and he does not leave barren what he has touched. His gifts and his calling over you do not change. You did not lose your calling. It was only resting, waiting for this season to wake it again. If you feel this truth stirring inside, you do not let it pass without response. Speak it now, simply and from your heart. Declare your readiness if you believe. He is not restoring you only so you can find peace. He is restoring you so you can move forward, so you can build, so you can teach others, so you can become someone who lifts those around you. because what is coming next is not only about you, it is about what you will do for others. Through everything you have survived, what was once your shame will become a foundation. What was once your silence will become a testimony. What was once a delay will become momentum. And he confirms this to you today with his own voice. He is not just restoring what was lost. He is giving you something new, something that does not come from your bust, something you have not yet even imagined. He makes all things new, and you are included in that promise. He says to stop declaring it is too late, or that you have nothing to offer, because his spirit within you is declaring the exact opposite. He saw you before you were formed, and he set you apart. He anointed you even when you did not. I know how to pray. He marked you even when the world overlooked you. And now he is calling you because your hour has come. Your moment has begun. And what once seemed extinguished will burn again like a fire that does not go out. The season of quiet waiting is over. He saw you endure without answers, serve without any recognition, give without receiving in return, and feel invisible walking through a crowd. But that invisibility was never neglect. It was his covering, his shelter, until the time came to bring you forward with honor. That moment has arrived. The days they spent overlooked are giving way to times when they will be remembered for what he did inside them. They quietly fed so many who never fed them back in return. Many were judged along their journey by people who never understood their true purpose. Others assumed they were standing still, when in truth they were being shaped in secret, in a place hidden from everyone except his. What he planted in their soul, what he nurtured in their spirit, the strength he built while everyone else had completely written them off, is finally ready to bloom with power. He never forgets the one who remains. He never overlooks the one who waits in faith. And his child waited quietly, without demanding conditions. They wept quietly, yet they never grew bitter. And then they were hurt, but chose not to return the pain. They fell, but rose once more, which is why this message has reached them today. They have entered a season of honor. What they did in secret will now be rewarded for all to see. Doors that remained firmly shut before will now swing open at their voice. Those who once dismissed them will begin to seek the wisdom he placed inside, because he has spoken, and he always keeps his word, humbled beneath his mighty hand, so he can lift them up in due time. And that time is now. The time they waited for, wept for, and held on through. No more spiritual obscurity. No more walking in shadows. Today, the Lord crowns them with favor. Today, his light covers them completely. But this honor is not meant to puff them up. This blessing has a deeper purpose. He is lifting them to lift others. He is calling them to call others. He reveals himself so that through them, others can see him. What he does in them reaches far beyond their lives. It impacts generations. They are breaking limits that bound their family line for years, cutting cycles of frustration, of feeling forgotten, of inherited heaviness, and they do it through his strength, not their own. Every step they took was counted. Every yes they whispered in deep pain was written in his book. And now heaven stands to decree a new season over them. People will wonder how it happened. Why them? Why now? And they will know in their spirit it was not strategy, not connections, not human effort. It was his hand, his grace, his justice, because they held on to him when everything pushed them to let go. Because they said, even if I do not understand, I will keep believing. And that faith is what now opens the heavens over their life. There is a sacred way that trust has always been shown, since the earliest pages of his word, a way of placing something precious into his hands, as a sign that the heart no longer depends on its own supply. This is not about loss. It is about a holy exchange. It is about proving through a simple, deliberate act that what they hold in their hand matters far less than what he is able to do. He is asking his children to place a portion of what they have, something of real weight, upon the altar of this work. Let it be a seed sown in deep water, an offering set on stone, not held back in fear. This is proof that their trust rests in his hand to provide, and that their heart no longer clings to lack. What is released in faith does not leave their life. It moves ahead of them into the harvest. He is preparing. When they take this step, the gates that seemed sealed in iron will begin to move. A road will appear where they once saw only wasteland. They will no longer stumble in the dark, because their life will become a place where his presence rests, and what sustains them will not run dry. This act of faith opens the door to what he has stored, waiting for their arrival. But before anything else, let this truth settle deep in their heart. What he does in them is never about a single transaction. It is about a relationship that deepens, a trust that grows, a life learning to lean fully on him, not only in scarcity, but also in abundance. There are those who pray only in the desert, and yet grow distant once they reach the land he promised them. He does not want that distance from them. He wants them closer, not further. He wants them grateful, surrendered, worshiping with even more strength than when they cried out in their darkest hour, because what he is about to do in their lives will also become a sign for others, people who watch them struggle, who watch them hold on to faith without understanding why. They will see that it was worth it. They will see he does not forget those who wait for him, and they will become a living testimony that faith was never wasted. They must not view this as an isolated moment. It is the start of a new sequence, the key that unlocks other areas of their lives. What is resolved now opens the path for other adjustments, other restorations, other steps forward, because he works in connection. He joins together what looked separate to them. He links what seemed broken. He is writing eternal threads where they only saw loose ends. And if they remain attentive, they will see everything begin to align, and they will know without doubt that it was him, from the start through the whole process, in the answers, in the waiting, and in everything still to come. This is not just for them. What he is releasing in their life will be a seed. He plants directly through them, reaching those who are still waiting for their own turning point. They will look at them, and something in them will wake up again. They will hear their story, and something in their hearts will begin to believe once more. To his child, do not think he did not see. Do not believe their wounds passed him by, unnoticed. He saw every word spoken against them in private. He saw every act of kindness they offered that was met with nothing but emptiness. In return, he was there when they trusted someone, and they betrayed that trust. He was there when they opened their heart and received distance instead of care. He knows exactly how many times they told themselves they would never cry over the same thing again, yet the wound stayed open. That was not their failure. It was not weakness. It was part of a process that their Creator is going to redeem. He has seen not only what was done to them, but what it left behind. The quiet feeling that something in them was not enough. The fear of loving again. The suspicion that they might never fully trust anyone again. But today he comes to tell them that wound will not be their identity. That rejection will not be the final chapter of their story. They were treated as if they didn't matter, as if their presence was easy to replace. They faced coldness when all they knew how to give was warmth. But God speaks over them with certainty. They were never overlooked by heaven. He never once abandoned them. Even when the world dismissed them, heaven had already decreed their restoration, because he is faithful to heal not only what is visible, but what hurts quietly underneath. Right now, his hand touches memories that still bring pain. He enters those emotional spaces marked by betrayal and being dismissed. In the quiet, being made to feel small. If they feel something rise inside as they hear this, they shouldn't push it away. Let it surface. Because what surfaces now is what he is, preparing to heal. From the depths of their heart, they can speak to him honestly, declaring their trust if they believe. This isn't just inspiration passing through them. This is activation. They aren't hearing this by chance. They hear it because they were chosen, and that choice brings divine direction, support, and true fulfillment. They are entering days where what they awaited years for will start to arrive, without the struggle they once knew, because he has already opened doors. His favor has already been released. And he tells them one more thing. They must not fear those leaving them now. Some will not be able to walk beside them into the place he is leading them, but they must not hold on to them. Their season in their journey has run its course. He will bring new connections, people who will honor them without manipulation, alliances built on honesty, and support that is sincere, because this season is set apart, and he will not allow anything that does not belong in it to remain. They are under his covering now, and what he protects, nothing can ever reach. They must prepare, because what is coming will no longer be delayed, and when it arrives, they will understand that it was never about being strong. It was about being faithful, even when faithfulness seemed to cost them everything and return absolutely nothing. They stayed anyway. They believed anyway, and that is what he is responding to now. What they are about to receive is not just an answer. It is a sign. This is more than a solution to what they prayed for. It is confirmation that he is with them, that his hand rests on their life, and that heaven remains attentive to their story. What he will do in the coming days will not have an explanation that fits human reasoning. It will be so clear, so far beyond what could be expected, that they themselves will say, "This could only have come from God." He has spoken, and it will prove true, not to show off your strength, but to reveal his faithfulness, not so you can boast in achievements, but so you can speak of his goodness. You see, this blessing isn't just for you. It is a key, one that opens doors for those you love, for the ones coming after you, for the path that stretches beyond what you can see right now. He held this back, not to withhold it, but because your heart wasn't ready yet to receive it the way it needed to be received. He doesn't give promises so they become trophy. He gives them to mark destinies, and your destiny has been taking shape quietly, even when you believed nothing was happening, even when you thought nothing was moving. His hand was working behind the veil. He was the one holding your faith steady when weariness threatened to put it out. He was the one putting words in your mouth when you didn't know how to pray. He was the one who made hope rise again when you didn't want to keep waiting. And now he comes as the one fulfilling what he promised, the one who does not delay, the one who honors those who persevere. Many will see what he is doing in you and be amazed. Some won't understand why it's you. Others will try to explain it away with reasoning, but you will know this was his direct hand, effort, because the path that opened up was not based on merit. Listen, it was built entirely on grace. When people claimed it was impossible, he proved that nothing is impossible for him. When you believed it was too late, he proved that time belongs to him. And when you believed you were forgotten, he surprised you with a door nobody ever expected. Do not fear if what is coming is far bigger than what you requested. Do not fear if it starts to touch parts of your life you never imagined, because when he moves, he leaves nothing unfinished. He cleanses what is unclean. He brings order to what is confused. He renews what was dying. This is more than just a reward. It is a call to trust deeper, to surrender fully and walk with him, not just through the dry desert, but also into the place he is leading you. He says this is no longer a promise to anticipate as if it were far away. He tells you today, the miracle has already been set loose. What he is doing in your life will transform everything for good. This won't be a temporary comfort. It won't be a fleeting change. It will be a total renewal touching your mind, your spirit, your surroundings, your home, your entire story. He did not come just to ease pain. He came to restore you from the root. He came to give you a new beginning, built on a foundation that will never be shaken. He is the one who makes a way in the wilderness. He pours rivers into dry land. He is the one doing what seemed impossible, and he does it in a way that no one can ever deny it was the work of his hand. He held you when nobody else understood. He shielded you in secret while your entire world felt like it was breaking apart. You believed you were only surviving, but he was rebuilding, laying foundations, block by block, with patience and divine purpose. He proved his faithfulness even on those days you doubted yourself. And now he speaks with authority to tell you no longer need to beg for what he has already decreed. Simply believe. Trust him. Open your heart completely, because the miracle does not depend on your strength. It relies on his promise, and his word never fails. Today is when your faith finds its answer, not from raw emotion, but through divine fulfillment, because you were faithful in small things. And now, much greater things are coming, because you refused to turn back when every voice told you to quit, because you chose to trust him in the silence. And that devotion is now rewarded. Heaven celebrated your endurance. What he is setting in motion today goes far beyond just one area of your life. He is moving everything that was stuck. He is aligning what has drifted away. Indeed, he is cleansing what was contaminated. He is restoring what seemed lost, because he loves you with a love that does not change and never grows tired and does not forget. He did not come out of a passing compassion. He came out of an eternal love. He came because even in your brokenness, you remained his. He came because even when you fell, you did not let go of his hand. He came because what he begins, he also completes. This miracle has the power to change the entire atmosphere around you. You will feel lighter, clearer, stronger, because he is lifting a weight from a spirit you carried without even realizing it. He is removing the veil that clouded your understanding. He is restoring your ability to dream without fear. And he tells you firmly, you will not walk with your head down again. You will not let the past govern your decisions again. What he healed remains healed. What he broke will not be put back together. What he rebuilt, no one can tear down. And if anyone asks how your life changed, so much you will answer with the truth. It was the Lord, his beloved child. Do not fear. Do not doubt. Do not look back. What he is doing today in your life is the foundation of a new story. One you'll write together with him. And what is coming will not be a shadow of what once was. It will be glory upon glory, promise upon promise, victory over every single scar, because he is their God, and he is not finished with them. He is only beginning the most beautiful chapter. Tonight, something beyond human explanation can reach their lives in ways they never imagined. The way forward is opening now, and their only part is to walk through it with him. Their spirits must settle into this truth. They are not the sum of everything that has happened to them. They are living proof of what he can do with a soul that surrenders. So they must walk in faith, speak with absolute confidence, declare what they have received, because what began as a struggle will end in victory, and what started with tears will become a song. This cleansing is not just for them. It is for those who come after, and the legacy they leave will be one of freedom, not chains of honor, not shame, of glory, not guilt, because that is what he has decreed, and what he decrees, no one can ever undo. They must hear him in this final moment. He is not far from them, and he never was. He speaks to them exactly where they stand, in the quiet they once thought was empty. True silence has never meant his absence. More often, it is the space he prepares. so his voice can be heard more clearly. As they begin to understand this, what once confused you will become a milestone on your path. What once made you hesitate will now confirm his constant presence with you. With this deep understanding, the way you act, the way you speak, how you carry yourself, it will all change. Not because you are becoming someone different, but because you are finally stepping into who he created you to be. Let your spirit rest deeply as his beloved. In that quiet rest, he is changing how you see yourself. You are not forgotten or lost, nor are you off track. You are being led to the moment of your true awakening. When you look back on this journey, you will see that every step, even the ones you doubted, brought you right here, to this place where his purpose and your spirit align as one. Keep these words with you. Let them settle into the quiet spaces of your soul. Do not let this just pass by, but start a journey where you know longer search for his voice, because you live within his unending presence. He is with you now. He was with you before, and he will be with you through everything that is yet to come. Step forward without any fear, for the light has arrived, and it will never fade. Say your amen, for this promise is yours. We rely entirely on your support to exclusive member-only content. Scan the QR or check the pinned comment. May God bless you, your soul. Do not let this just pass by, but start a journey where you know longer search for his voice, because you live within his unending presence. He is with you now. He was with you before, and he will be with you through everything that is yet to come. Step forward without any fear, for the light has arrived, and it will never fade. Say your amen, for this promise is yours. We rely entirely on your support too. Exclusive member-only content. Scan the QR or check the pinned comment. May God bless you.